Hello everyone, and welcome to something a little bit different. I know that all of you no doubt have seen this little sign I throw up at the beginning of all of my videos, but I still get a lot of asks about what supplies I'm using, even though I am mentioning it in all of the video descriptions. And also I get a lot of asks on other sites. Lately I've just been directing people to like any of my videos, just be like, oh, well, it's in the video description, but it's always kind of what I used on that particular piece, not necessarily everything. So today, I thought some of you might find interesting kind of what I use and on like as a whole. So I figured I would just go through all of my shit that I've got laying around, even the stuff I don't use all the time, and kind of talk a little bit about it. I'll mention the whys kind of when I know them, because a lot of the times, honestly, I just use something because I'm into it. There isn't really a more complex reason than that. But if there is like a specific reason that I like a certain brand or anything like that, I'll make sure to mention it. All right, let's start with my pen bag, because that's kind of where the most important part is at. A couple people also asked if I could like tour my my workspace, but I don't know if you can tell by the state of what you can see of my desk right now. It's kind of messy. Stained. Not the whole workspace, but my desk is definitely stained. Anyway, so stuff that I carry with me at all times, and just kind of the shit in my bag. These are usually in my bag too. I do really like these water brushes. I think these are there's the Kuretake ones, I think, but I'm not certain. I have a couple different brands of them, but I do really like water brushes for travel, but I am really terrible at keeping the lids. And just be aware that if you don't keep the lids on them, they do tend to get clogged. So at this point, on most of mine, I have to kind of like bend in half in order to get the liquid to come out of the tip. But otherwise, if you take better care of yours than I take care of mine, they last really well. My first few I had for like years, but I keep I don't know why I can't keep track of the lids all of a sudden anymore. They keep running off. So I guess that's what's happening with that. But I have those ones, and then I have this big square one, which is cool. If I can get the cap back on it. And I have a little tiny baby one. This one is really crusty right now. Ugh, I need to clean it, poor thing. It's been through a lot. Tiny baby one was free though. This I don't really like very much, so I'm gonna set it aside. And this is dead. This is also a good reason for me to go through my pen bag, apparently, because I'm finding things that don't work anymore. Next, we have infamous ballpoint pens. So basically, I use these to sketch. Can't really tell you why, because I don't know. It just feels right. I kind of started doing it at some point in college. I used to use little itty bitty sketchbooks. Actually, I have one over here. These little guys. This used to be like all I would draw in. And they're pretty good. I like them. But like, I like having more space now. But as I was saying, I used to only draw on those, and that's basically kind of when I got started sketching with more permanent forms of, like more permanent tools, I guess. I kind of started with using Tombow markers, which I still really like to do, but they're like water soluble, which is kind of interesting and is like a different effect, which I just got more of too. They're really great, but I haven't been using them, so I don't think I'll really mention them here. But ballpoint pens are just like, I don't know what it is. I just found that I like being able to see my sketch lines, and it's just something that kind of developed from there. So like, if you've seen any of my art, you've seen it, but examples, I'm trying to find one that is mostly, it's like really penny. Here, this one doesn't have color on it, so that'll work. So like shit like this, you know. I just like to be able to see my process, I guess, even when I make mistakes. Actually, especially when I make mistakes, I feel like the more lines end up in it, the more I like it. And normally what I do is I go with whatever one's either closest to the background or pink to begin with, just because it's lighter. So if it's a mostly blue background, I might start with blue and then go in with purple to add detail. But I do like a loose sketch first, and then go in with more precise with another color on top of that. So that's those. Inking wise, Pentel Pocket Brush Pen is what I do the majority of my lines with. Example. I just like brush pens, and that one's a good one. It also refills. These are little glitter gel pens that I don't use super often. I don't think I have an example that I can think of off the top of my head in this book. Basically, they're just like little shimmer gel pens. Clear liquid, but with glitter in them too. This metallic marker I'm pretty sure is dead, but it's gold. Same with this one, so I should probably take them out. But I really like these Pen Touch ones. So if you're looking for a good metallic marker, that's a good one. I want to get another one soon. Uniball Signo white gel pens I use for stuff like this. Basically any going back in and adding white detailing to anything I do with those. Unless it's like a larger area, but I haven't really found a white ink I super like. That's like a little one in a jar. There's this one I have, but it's like kind of gotten dried out, and even before it got dried out, it kind of cracked if you got it too thick. So if you've got any good white ink recommendations, send them my way. Another one of those brush pens. More ballpoints in different colors. I got a black one in there too. A pencil I never use. Regular pens, another ballpoint, and then this little guy, the Staedtler Pigment Liner. Basically it's just like a little fine liner pen. I find that I like it better than like microns or anything like that though, because I feel like the tip doesn't get crushed as easily. That's mostly for like really tiny lines like this that I don't trust my brush pen to make consistently, because I want it all to be one width. Or like I do it for like kind of cross-hatchy shading sometimes. I don't know if I've got a good example that I don't have to like maneuver my book for. Oh, no, never mind. Anyway, you get me. So yeah, that is all of that. I'm gonna put this shit back in my bag. I have a lot of it. But for the most part, mainly for sketching, I just use the ballpoint pens, and then mainly for inking, I just use my Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. Moving on to color. Lately, I haven't been using a ton of different stuff other than this. I don't even know if I can find the other stuff I'd been using like occasionally. So I'll just go over what I have in front of me right now. So basically, paint. I use Winsor Newton. No real particular reason I don't have like a specific affinity for Winsor Newton. They're the Cotman ones, and I found that they are relatively affordable, and they work well. So that way I'm not really spending a zillion dollars on paint. But I also have something that's good quality. So that's just kind of why I've landed on that. I haven't really tried a ton of different watercolors though, so you might find that something else works better for you. I don't know. But the ones that I usually have on me, my absolute favorites, I'll go over the ones that are basically the ones that I use all the time. If you see me using any, probably this purple too, let's say that. If you see me using any paints, chances are these three, occasionally with that one mixed in, and then skin tones. Usually I add some browns and stuff, but for the most part I kind of use this. I'm good at this. The colors I use, this is Permanent Rose, Cerulean Blue, Cadmium Yellow, and then this Dioxazine Purple. This one's really dark though, but it makes those really sweet, like deep purple colors, and it's really rich. I think it only comes in small tubes though, but it's like the purple that I used in this one. I don't know if you can see, but mostly in like these areas down here. I also used a little bit of this purple, Purple Lake, but that one's a lot brighter and almost a little bit more pink. So if you're looking for a nice rich purple, that's your guy. As far as browns, Burnt Umber is kind of that kind of deep true brown. I can't find anything. Deep true brown, and then burnt sienna is kind of the warmer reddish brown. I have cadmium red, deep hue. Cadmium red is more of like a red, and this one is more of like a pink red. Alizarian crimson hue. Ooh, fancy. Ultramarine is that cool like deep blue. It mixes really interestingly with the purples actually. It kind of does this thing where it separates. It's really neat. Emerald, really bright green. And this random paint from, I don't even know what the brand is. Mission? I don't fucking know. I got it for free. It was like just a little add-on and something. And it's really nice. I like it. It's Permit Azerulean Crimson, so it's kind of similar to this one, but this one's really, really rich and cool. It's a pretty nice color. So, those are my paints. Pow, 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 pow. Done with that. Okay. And as far as palettes go, I have this Rigger Art one that I use. Got it for free. It's pretty good. Pretty good guy. I like the kind of layout of it, and it's got this cool little kickstand, so you can hold it. So that's pretty neat. But mine's a mess. It'll always be a mess. No one can stop me from having it be a mess. I'll never fix it. Never ever. I'll die before I clean my palette out. Next up, paper, I guess. Actually, no, wait, I'm not done with colors. I have these Dr. P.H. Martin's inks. Colors wise, I just have a set, so I'm not really gonna go over the colors super much. Besides magenta and teal, I really love how these ones work together, and if you water them down, they make for really good sketching. The biggest difference between these and like the watercolors or these other watercolors I have that I don't use super often, the concentrated watercolors, and these are Dr. P.H. Martin's as well, by the way, is that these are not reactivated by water, so they work really well for sketching and then doing a watercolor wash or something over the top of them. They're pretty rad. On paper, we have, for commissions, I use Arches watercolor blocks, hot press 7x10 for my mediums and smalls. My smalls are just one of these cut in half. I like hot press because it doesn't have the texture to it. For larger commissions though, I do like the cold press just because something about the bigger paper, the grit kind of helps. It also the paint doesn't seem to dry as fast, so you can kind of work in larger areas for a little bit longer, and it helps. But this one is the 9x12, and this is my larger paper I have. It also is, I don't know if you can see, has wax all the way around the sides. So basically the way that it works, spoiler, but the way that it works is it's got this little gap where all of the sheets are. I know it's not focusing on it, but this is the best way I can show you, and my camera's gonna be sassy, and if I hit autofocus, then it'll just be a bitch later. But it's like got the wax around the outside, so basically what you do is you just either stick your thumbnail or like a knife or something underneath and kind of slice it, and then you can just peel it off. It keeps it from warping. It's really nice. They're great. Super worth it if you do a lot of watercolor stuff like me. And then as far as books go, I have a fresh one here so I can show you in its clean glory. I like these Strathmore Mixed-Media, like they call them Mixed-Media journals, at least Amazon does. But they're really awesome because they're one of the only sketchbooks I've found so far that you can paint on both sides of the page without it bleeding through. I don't know about markers, but I do know the Liquid India inks and the and watercolor and stuff does not go through the page, and none of the pens I've used go through the page, but be aware I've never tried it with something like Prismacolors or Copic markers or anything like that, so I don't know how it behaves with those. But with what I have been using, it's really one of the only ones that doesn't like transfer through. So like, good example, I can do something like this on one side and something like this on the other, and it doesn't show at all, or like have something like this on one side that's pretty dark, and then the other side is still nice and blank. So it basically makes you actually able to use all of the pages in it rather than half of them, because a lot of the times you can only draw on one side, and that's a ripoff. Also, the way that they're bound keeps the pages relatively flat. So it does warp a little bit, as you can see, but not in a way that's aggressive or extreme. But it does warp in a way that's funny because you can tell which sketchbooks are ones that I've finished and which ones that I haven't. But yeah, so like basically this one's been sitting closed for a while because it's a full one, and they tend to kind of flatten out a little bit too. So they warp a little, but not a lot. Not in a way that's noticeable when you're actually looking at the images, just in a way that's noticeable when you're looking at the paper itself. So yeah, I think that's basically everything. I have some Winsor & Newton inks, mostly a gold one that I like. I have used these FW Pearlescent inks a little bit. Those are pretty nice. That's the, like, I have one that's orangey gold and then a pink and a blue. But yeah, that's basically my usuals. Thanks for like sitting with me and listening to me blabber about art supplies. I hope it was at least a little educational for you. And if you have any more specific questions about anything, feel free to drop them in the comments, or if you were wondering about something specific that I didn't talk about, feel free to drop it in the comments. I honestly can't think of anything else I've been using lately that I didn't talk about here. So, and if I redirected you to this video because you asked me a question, it's not because I hate you, it's just because it's hard for me to say the same thing over and over again. So I figured this is an easy way that might be more in-depth than what I'd be willing to dish out on a daily basis. So yeah. But yeah, if I didn't talk about anything that you were interested in, or if you want more specific information about like one product or anything, pop it in the comments. Other than that, good places to shop for art supplies online. I really like Cheap Joe's. I'll put that link in the description. Also, Blick's website is usually a good one, or just your local art supply store. There's one really good one in Salem. So if you, like, mom and pop shops are legit. They'll usually order you whatever you need to, because they've got access to stuff that, like, they don't carry a lot of the time too. So, but yeah. I'm gonna bounce. I hope that was enlightening, and I hope your question was answered if you had one. So, but if not, let me know. And thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hitting up my channel. Thanks for being a friend. Thanks for continuing to participate in this crazy bullshit I keep making, because it's, I don't know, kind of a passion project at this point. But I hope you're still enjoying it. So, I love you. Bye. Don't open paint tubes with your teeth at home, kids. It's bad for you.